Yo, so a couple months ago I started a playthrough of Valheim where I decided to never use a bow to make it a little bit more difficult. Before starting this playthrough, I'd only ever just about beaten the second boss, the Elder, so everything after that, this is my first time seeing it. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so I loaded up a random seed and jumped straight in. I started by just wandering about, getting sticks and stones and berries and mushrooms, until I had enough stuff to make an axe and a hammer. And then whilst I was wandering around trying to find somewhere to set up base, I started just slaughtering pigs and deer. Came across this spot which was flattish, near a black forest and near the ocean, so I thought it was perfect and started setting up camp. And then I decided to set myself on fire, over and over and over again. Aha! Not on fire this time. Then I flattened out a large area and grabbed enough wood to build my first house. Not the prettiest thing I ever built, but it'll do for now. Now that I've got the house, I upgraded my workbench and upgraded all my tools. And using the deer heads that I collected along the way, we summoned our first boss, Eikthyr. I don't know how much this is going to protect us. Oh no, all of it. Nice. And it was an absolute joke, because shields are OP early game. So I decapitated the deer and hung its head on a chain. So now we have the power of Eikthyr. And then on the way back from hanging up the head, I found a 1-star boar. So I tamed it, took it home, and now we're breeding boars. And after killing Eikthyr, you get the hard antler, which means you can make the pickaxe. So now we can head into the spooky black forest to gather copper and tin. I went into the black forest and grabbed enough core wood to make the stag breaker, which is this cool giant hammer. And the reason I made the giant hammer is because it is amazing at killing skeletons, which we need because we're going to be heading into burial chambers in search of Surtling cores. After clearing my way through a few burial chambers and collecting tons of bones along the way, I grabbed enough Surtling cores and found the stone tablet with the Elder's location on, so now we know where our next boss is. I went back to base, built up this second little shack, and threw in our charcoal kiln and our forge. The charcoal kiln you fill with wood and it makes charcoal. The forge you put charcoal in and your raw metal and it turns it into ingots. Then I got hard to work mining copper and tin. I combined the copper and tin to make bronze, which I then used to create these new tools, including a pickaxe, axe, polearm, shield, helmet, cultivator and sword. Then I decided it would be a good idea to fight a naked, 20-foot tall, tree-wielding troll. And I'm sure you can guess how that ended. Well, and then I went back for round 2 and it wasn't even close. There we go. Jesus. Now that we've got the bronze axe, we can collect fine wood, which is another resource that just unlocks a load of recipes for us, including the boat. So I made myself a boat and head out to sea for the first time, and then immediately turned around because I'm terrified of the ocean. And then I built a dock for the little boat, which I spent way longer on than I care to admit, but you'll notice that's a bit of a theme throughout this video. Then using the boat, I gathered up enough bronze to max out all our tools. I built a little shack to put all our cooking stuff in and made a little farming plot. I grabbed some cooked meat from the boars, some jam, and some fish that I managed to rip out of the ocean with my bare hands. So I get sailing over there, and then I summon this Groot-looking motherfucker. And here we go. Get some shit damage in straight away. The Elder is super difficult melee only. Come on, buddy. And we get low on health multiple times. Not got much health. Neither does he. Can we finish him off right now? Yes! But we managed to clutch it out. I just want to remind you this is the furthest I'd ever gotten, so everything from now on was my first time seeing it. So I head back to base and start building a wall to add a little protection to the base, and then the ground starts shaking. And there's only one fitting reaction to seeing 2 giant blue asses looking at you. Holy shit. And then I'm sure you know what happens next. Then I finished up the wall, and here's a little recap of what our base looks like now. And then I had a real nightmare. So I decided to boat off in search of a swamp off camera, and I found one of these cool little turtles. So I started mining the chitin on its back, and it submerged before I even knew what was happening. And because I'd just finished mining, my stamina was super low, and I was too far from the boat, and ended up drowning. And then, because I didn't want to have to regather all the stuff to make my tools again, I Alt F4'd, which in turn actually completely deleted all my stuff. So I had to gather a bunch more bronze and make all our tools again. And turns out if I didn't Alt F4, my stuff would have still been there. So after gathering enough stuff to get all my tools back, I set up a little base near a swamp I found, but it also happened to be near a plains biome. So I decided to take on some of the creatures from the plains. And yeah, I died again. It just hit me for 80. I got my stuff back, headed over to the swamp, where I was met by blobs, Draugr, giant leeches, and flaming men. And then I realised something. Oh, do you know what? Didn't bring the fucking key with me, did I? So on the way back to base, I found this little building, which I killed my way through, and found the tablet for bone mass. So now we know where our next boss is. Whilst back at base, I made the Abyssal Harpoon, which I'll show you what it does later. And I made some sausages using the entrails from undead humans. Interesting. Also, I forgot to mention, when I died and lost all my stuff, I also built this building, which is a little hub for all my portals. So I went back to the swamp and used our key to enter the sunken crypts, which aren't very interesting, are just full of blobs and Draugr. So I collected as much iron as I could carry and headed back home. And then I figured I'd test out our Abyssal Harpoon, which lets you drag things along with you. Look at him, he's trying to swim back. And the main reason that is useful is because it can bring serpents onto land. Because if you kill a serpent in the ocean, its loot drops to the bottom of the ocean, you won't get it. So you have to drag them onto land and then kill them. And then you get serpent scales and serpent meat. And the serpent meat's an insane food. And there we go. Sea serpent defeated. So I gathered a load more iron and made the serpent scale shield using the serpent scales, an iron mace, a helmet, and an iron axe. We also made the stone cutter, which allows us to build things out of stone now. Also, I made the longship, which is this giant Viking boat, which is incredible. On the way back from gathering more iron, I saw this creepy guy who keeps popping up everywhere, and then I got to work making our iron armor and upgrading our tools. I then tore down our old little workshop hut and built a much bigger one out of stone, but then all of a sudden there was this foul smell from the swamp. I'm just trying to build a house. I went outside and was greeted by Draugr and skeletons, which I had to clear out, and then I finished off the workshop, and this is what it looks like. And then I had a bit of a dilemma. Our new boat didn't fit in our dock because it was too small, so I built this, which took well over 10 hours and really was not worth it. Whilst out exploring, I ran into this small blue guy who sold me people's guts, but he also sold a belt, which I'm not going to try and pronounce, which increases your weight by 50%. Then I head back home and spent more time upgrading our tools and building the rest of our armor. And then I got some grey dwarfs to kill a serpent for me, which was nice of them. One more. Nice. I added a stone path around our base, and then started making some serpent stew. And then I had to reevaluate my math skills. What? 1, 2, 3. So I made, I think, 3. So in preparation for our third boss, I made poison resistant potions and health potions, and also got our club skill up to 52. And then I headed off to where we were meant to fight Bone Mass and created this little temporary base just so I was a bit safer. And then we summoned Bone Mass. The fight started with him throwing blobs at me and throwing up on the ground. Locked all of it. Okay, I think we're fine. I think I may have massively over-prepared for this fight. Turns out getting your mace skill to 52 is pretty high for this boss fight. I'm sure this is not the most visually appealing thing to look at. And although he got me down to about 90 health, it wasn't too difficult and we managed to take out the Bone Mass. Okay, a few more and he should be dead. There we go. And as a reward, we got the Bone Mass trophy and the Wishbone, which is an item that shows you where hidden items are, which will come in handy later. I sacrificed the Bone Mass trophy, which gave us the power of Bone Mass, which is by far the strongest one, as it cuts the damage you take from physical attacks by about 75%. I created some frost resist meads and head over to the mountains in search of silver. The first mountain I checked didn't have anything but wolves, but we needed to kill them for the next set of armor. I head over to another bigger mountain and found some obsidian, which I didn't know what to do with. We've got a signal. There's a drake or whatever it's called. Let's take this thing on, see how bad these are. Turns out it was very bad, and these are by far my least favourite enemy in the game to defeat melee only because they don't leave the sky, so you literally just have to kite them as close to the ground as you can and try and kill them. I head back to mine the silver, and instead of fighting the drake, I decided I'd try and befriend it instead. I head back to base with the silver and wolf pelt I'd collected, and created the wolf fur cape, which meant we didn't need the frost resist potions anymore. I also made the silver shield and the wolf armor chest piece, and then head back into the mountains to try and get some more silver, where I found the tablet for Moda's location. So now we know where our fourth boss is going to be. I knew I had to find dragon eggs to summon Moda, and whilst searching for them I found this thing. I used our Bone Mass ability and started fighting it, and this is where I realised that the Bone Mass ability is far too overpowered. Exploring a bit more, and I ran into this thing. What the fuck is this? Oh shit. And before I knew it, I ran back and grabbed our stuff, and then jumped on the stone golem's head and used a pickaxe from above. But whilst I wasn't recording, I grabbed a few dragon eggs which were just lying around in the mountains, and decided it was time to upgrade our house. So here's the new house. It has a separate storage compartment, a hearth in the middle, nice big bed, and this cool roof design. I also gathered a ton of silver and made full armor, a silver sword, and upgraded all of it to max, including making a helmet. Now I figured it was about time we took revenge on them locks. And although I did take quite a bit of damage, I learnt the patterns of their attacks and it was super easy to parry them from there. And I wiped out all 3 of them, giving us Locke's Meat and Locke's Pelt, which are super useful items for later on. And then just across the water there was this building that had a fallen totem in, which I grabbed and later realised was what you needed to summon Yagluth. And then just kept falling over and over and over again. Oh, until I got to the top, killed the 2 Fullens and got our first bit of barley. And then I set off in search of our 4th boss's location, which happened to be on the other side of a massive plains biome, which was a bit terrifying, but we managed to get across no problems. And here it is. And then I tried to set up a portal near where you summon Moda, but little did I know you couldn't overwrite previous portal names, so the portal didn't link to anything. So whilst I was heading back, I found these locks which were climbing on top of each other, and died. Oh shit! Turns out that this was a blessing in disguise, because it meant I could go through the portal that was named the same as the one over at Moda, destroy it and then kill myself, which respawned me back at my house. And now the portal at the house and the portal at Moda are linked. 200 IQ. So I went back and grabbed my stuff and then set up this little dirt mound, which turned out to be super helpful in the fight against Moda. And then I very nearly got one shot, because apparently when you're in water, frost damage does a lot more. And then I actually died. Oh, please, game. Give me a break. So I went back to get my stuff again, and then decided it was time to do a bit of training. I leveled up my sword skill to about 52 and summoned Moda. So I was terrified for this boss fight because Moda is a flying dragon and I have no range. And for the first few minutes of the fight, it was just in the air and I was terrified that this was going to be impossible. However, she did land and we started the fight. I'm not trying to holy shit, it's just knocked all the trees down. I used the little mound I built to avoid the ice breath. Don't land up there. I really want to jump on its back just for the memes, but I also really don't want to die here. Fuck it! Let's fly. Turns out I was worrying for nothing because Moda lands a lot and all of its attacks are super slow, so it was quite an easy fight. Just tanking it. We're going for the kill here. And there we go. Moda's in tears. Here's a quick look at Moda's trophy, personally my favourite. So I went back to base and made the artisan table, the spinning wheel, the blast furnace and the windmill, and then head over to the plains, which is the final and most dangerous biome of them all. As you can tell, everything tries to kill each other here. So now we have to go through these fulling camps, which are full of crazy nasty things that look like the Hulk, to try and get flax, barley and fulling totems. Turns out these are unlike anything else in this game, and yeah, I was not ready and died. Uh-oh. Oh, this is bad. Fuck! I went back and got my stuff and was greeted by 2 locks making love. I've been really trying. And then died again. How? I finally cleared out this first camp to find out it had nothing I needed in it, so went to another camp, which was even more insane. Oh my god. And my goal very quickly went from let's kill everyone and take their stuff to let's just run in and out stealing all their stuff. As you can see, there was literally like 20, 30 of them. So then I built another little base because you can only grow barley and flax in plains biomes. And then I headed back to the main base with the black iron I had collected and made the black metal shield. So I grew a bunch of flax and put it in the spinning wheel, which gave us this linen thread. And with the linen thread, we can make our new set of armor. So I made that and upgraded it to max. And now our final problem is that I have no idea where Yagluth is, so I went searching through loads of plain biomes, honestly for over a good few hours, and just couldn't find it. And then just so happened that sailing around I find the actual place you summon Yagluth, not the location for him, his actual summoning point. I'm going to wipe that camp out because I don't want them getting involved during the fight. Yeah, so never mind on wiping out this village. I think I'm just going to leave it and hope that they don't interfere with the boss fight. But before taking on our final boss, I decided to see what was at the edge of the world. And it turned out it was Ashlands, which is like a volcanic desert with flaming people and this glowing metal that you can't use yet. So it was a bit pointless. And then, because I don't think far enough ahead, I destroyed the boat because I was going to run on land and then place the boat down again. However, I don't have enough wood to build a workbench, so I couldn't build the boat again, and we are miles from anywhere. Anyway, I reached the edge of the world, and turns out it is just literally a sheer drop. And then whilst exploring further, I found this creepy spiderweb biome, which so happened to have trees in it, so we were saved. So I grew a load of barley and put it in the windmill, which gave us bread flour, which unlocked loads of recipes, including lox meat pie and fish wraps, which are the foods we're going to be taking into the final boss fight. I also made more fire resist potions and stamina potions, and leveled up our sword skill to 69. Nice. So I went over to Yagluth's altar, threw in the totems, and summoned our final boss. And for a second I didn't think he was going to show up, because it didn't look like he was going to appear. And our fight with the Undead Skeleton King begins. Okay, we're on fire. Oh, there's just fire everywhere. That's good. By far the most terrifying boss yet, as he rains meteors from the sky, breathes fire at you, and just slams fireballs into the ground. This might be my favourite boss fight so far. Okay, we're just straight up tanking it and beating him up. I feel like Yaglu's been watching too much Infinity War. Oh my god! Okay, that hurt. And although we took huge damage from his fire breath, we managed to defeat him. There it is! Killing him gave us the Dead King's head and a placeholder item, because this game hasn't figured out what it wants to do with this yet. So I threw up its head onto our house as a show of power. And yeah, we've beaten Valheim. So here is what our little camp looks like now. Pretty awesome. And that's how I beat Valheim without ever using a bow. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to check out the Let's Play, where you get a more in-depth look at the playthrough. However, the first few videos are pretty bad because I haven't quite figured out solo recording yet, so probably skip them. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.